How's it going, everybody? This is Beat the Bush. When I made my day in a life video and I was making my coffee, I used a manual coffee grinder saying I modified it. Some of you asked me how I exactly do this, so today I'm going to show you how I actually modified it. This is my manual coffee grinder. If you're interested in the same one, they're really cheap. Just go on Amazon. I'll leave a link down in the video description below. Generally for these coffee grinders, if they have the same industrial design, it's most likely coming from the same exact manufacturer. They just like to rebrand these with a different name. So I've been using this for about a month or so. At first, it worked very well. It didn't slip at all. But after using it a while, I noticed that whatever setting I set it to, you basically open it up like this. And there's this little screw here that lets you adjust the grind size. And what I noticed happening is that after I grind the whole thing and I go back in and check, the grind size actually changed from about 3/4 turn to maybe 2.5 turn even. So it's gonna vary a lot. So today I'm gonna show you how exactly to make it so that the grind size is locked in place. Now, if you want to remove the top handle, it's usually kind of hard if you try to pull it up from here. So what I normally do is I just kind of take the lid over here and pull it up, and it becomes a lot easier to remove this handle. So I'm gonna put a few beans in here, and then you can see what happens. This nut does not normally come with these manual coffee grinders, so I'm going to remove this first. This is a 10mm nut. Okay. And normally what I would do to set the grind size is you hold the end over here and you turn it all the way close, and I would turn it back open 3/4 turn. So I would look at one of these star pegs over here and go, okay, this is 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, and this is set. So now I'm going to show you what happens if you grind 1 tablespoon of coffee without this added mod here. So I'm going to put in the beans. Now this is without the nut. Go like that. 4, 5, 6, 13, 14, 15. Okay, that's good enough for now. And then now we're going to check how much it loosened by. I can look again at this point here and try to tighten it. That's 1/2 turn, 3/4 turn. That's 1 whole turn. So it loosened by 1/4 turn already. So let me just loosen it back to 3/4 turn. And I'm going to try to grind the whole thing. Once I noticed that it was loosening, what I was doing is after every 10 turns or something, I would open it up and readjust it. So by the time I'm done with it, I would have readjusted it about 4 or 5 times, and I'm like, this is ridiculous. I need to like lock it somehow. But let me just grind the whole thing to show you how much it loosens by. It's ridiculous. It's really hard to dial in the pressure when you don't have a consistent grind. Once you have a consistent grind, then you can put different pressures on the tampering. If your grind size vary all over the place, you're not going to be able to guess the correct tampering pressure because your grind size varies all over the place. Let me grind this first and show you how bad it is. I have to note that a brand new cheap grinder, it's gonna work fairly well until you use it, you know, for a month or so, and then it's gonna start loosening it up very quickly. It's doing something weird. Oh yeah, wow, it's really loose right now. When I have this nut over here that's in there, it would take quite a long time to grind, maybe 2 minutes or so. Right now, I only ground for like 30 seconds, it feels. In a much shorter time, and I'm already done with it. Yeah, it's done. See, nothing. Oh, there's still 1 bean in there, but that's okay. Let me open this up, and I'm going to pour the ground out here. Wow, look at that. This is definitely not what you want for espresso. This is terrible. I might have to grind this again, I think. Put it back in the grinder after I fixed it. Use the mod. So now I'm gonna check how much it loosened by using this point over here. That's 1/2 turn, 1 turn, 1.5, 2 turns, almost 2.5 turns over here that it got loosened by. But I'm going to open this up just in case you guys are interested in what's going on in this grinder. This is the nut that holds it in place. And it's spring loaded. And here is the end. This is a ceramic piece over here, so it's very hard. And then inside over here, you can see it's spring loaded. Like that. So that it would press up against whatever setting you set over here. The beans fall in. This is set at a certain height, and it'll give you a certain grind size that comes out of it. But what happens is, as this is turning, the nut gets loose and then it loosens and comes up by a little bit, 2.5 turns, and the grind size get really big, and it gets as big as this over here. I think I can fix this though by putting it back into this grinder. I bought this nut here, which most people probably would not have at home. Let's talk a little bit about the screw here, because you need to buy this nut, and in order to buy a nut that would fit this, you need to know how to buy the nut and how to specify it. For me, I guess that this was a metric screw and it turned out to be right. You just gotta look at how wide it is. It turns out that's 6 millimeter wide. That's the first specification. The second specification is how many threads per millimeter. So right here, we can see easily that there's 1 thread for every millimeter. So the way you would specify this is M6-1.0, and this is exactly the nut that you would get. And we can see that if I screw it on, the whole thread of the nut go through and it would spin easily. If it's slightly off, you'll probably get stuck after 3 or 4 threads. So now that we have our nut, I paid 50 cents for this. We put this back like this. Put this original nut back on, like so, and we close it up. I have this handle over here, and I'm holding it down with my wrist so that this whole thing won't spin. I'm going to close it up all the way, open it up 3/4 turns, put the nut back on, and then gonna tighten it some more with this. Okay, and now this is not going to slip at all. So now I'm gonna go ahead and grind some more beans. This is the modified coffee grinder, hand coffee grinder. Put this on. I can definitely feel the coffee bean isn't passing through this thing as quickly. Yeah, it's like nibbling it a little bit at a time. I don't know if that makes sense. It's gonna take longer in order for me to grind this up, of course. I need to switch hands too, because my hands get tired. If you go too fast, it also won't grind as well. So, like if I go like this, it feels almost like the beans fail to fall into the cavities. So you gotta go right about this rate. It's actually grinds it the fastest. 1/1000. 3 turns per second? It sounds like 1/1000. Yeah, 3 turns per second. So let me grind this and then show you the grind size. Is it actually done? Oh my gosh, it's done. Here's a previous grind size. This is the fixed one. You can see the grind size is very, very different. This is kind of more like a flour. Very, very fine. And this, you can see little bits of nibbles in it. This is better for drip coffee, and this is more better for espresso. So I'm gonna put this back, and hopefully I can save it from being a bad coffee. Definitely don't feel like the big beans being crushed or anything. It's very low resistance. I think it would still crush it pretty well. I think. We'll see. Resistance means you're crushing something, and I feel a little bit. Let's see what it looks like. Doing it second time. I would say it's acceptable. Yeah. Looks like the way it should be. Yeah, I think it's the same after passing it through. Yep. So that's it for this little hack that modifies this really cheap hand coffee grinder into something that would grind your coffee to a very precise grind. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'm not actually going to make an espresso in this particular video because I did it in my previous video already. Don't forget to give me a like, comment down below, let me know if this helps you out, and as always, don't forget to push that subscribe button and ring that bell icon. Thanks for watching.